You're listening to Top 4, a new series presented by the Game Pitch Podcast.
Join hosts Brandon and Eli as they build gaming Mount Rushmores every week.
Enjoy topics that range from the best multiplayer types to the top bug Pokemon.
Catch fresh episodes of Top 4 every Wednesday on the Project Nerd Network.
And don't miss new episodes of the Game Pitch Podcast, dropping every Monday morning.
Let's get ready to rank. Hello and welcome to the Top 4 and More podcast. My name is Eli. We do video game rankings, and I couldn't do it alone. I'm here with my buddy, my homie, Brando.
Hey, everybody.
All right, so this week we are doing our personal Mount Rushmores, our top moments from video game conferences. So this could be an E3, this could be one of the international conferences, this could be those direct style events. This is just our personal moments that we got hype during some sort of a video game reveal conference, I would say. So Brandon, do you have like some honorable mentions? Are there any things that you just want to say about conferences just in general before we dive in?
E3 is something that I get excited for every, and it makes me a little sad to see people within the industry like really shit on that show.
They really do, like relentlessly, because they've been like 10 years and they're jaded.
But I always get excited for E3. I always get excited for the Game Awards. Pretty much any games conference. Anytime there's like lots of video game news, dude, I'm all about it. I remember specifically the year that they announced the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. That was one of my favorite years of E3 because it was the first time that I was going to be able to like buy the new console with my own money without like my parents' help or anything. Like that was really cool. I think that was like the peak of excitement for video games for me. So
I love that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What made you choose this topic, Elijah? What's been on your mind about video game conferences?
Well, I think the biggest reason I chose is because right now it's June and we are in the area where we should be having E3 and we're not having it. So I was thinking just in my life that there was a gaping hole that was E3 shaped, and I've taken work off almost every year to watch E3 conferences, or I'll plan my week around, when Nintendo has their direct, when Sony and Microsoft. It was really nice when, Microsoft started doing theirs on Sunday, and then it was just like, oh, cool, I don't have to take a day off of work. And then it was like, all right, I got to take my lunch when Nintendo's 45-minute direct goes up or something, just like planning around it. And even sometimes doing a full week of vacation around that and being like, hey, I'm going to play games all day. I'm going to watch the conferences all day. It's going to be like just fun. So I've done that, and it's always been a part of my life, and I really love it. So let's get into our honorable mentions. So you want to start, bud?
I sure do. Elijah, I did something a little bit different this week. I did honorable mentions and dishonorable mentions as well.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to start with dishonorable mentions. And that's anytime that Microsoft talks about the Kinect. Because man, I just do not like the Kinect, Elijah. Remember when they were like, yeah, you can like scan your skateboard and it'll be in the game, and then that never happened and Kinect was garbage, and then they were like, oh wait, we're doubling down, Kinect 2.0, and it was just as garbage, but at least you could like tell Netflix to pause.
Yeah, I really did miss the like when you couldn't like Xbox like play or pause, or Xbox volume up, volume down. Like when that was removed from my life because I got rid of the Kinect because I just couldn't anymore, then I was sad. There were like 2 or 3 fun Kinect games, I want to say, like in the whole history of it. Maybe.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
You're right. Dishonorable mention for sure. Any other dishonorable mentions?
Anytime Ubisoft or EA tries to be hip or cool by hiring an actor or an actress, don't get me wrong, I love Aisha Tyler and everything, but like, oh man, just any time that they try to like connect with the people, they're just missing the mark every single time, and it never gets better. I take that back, because I think this year last year they had John Bernthal, the guy who plays Punisher. And I just really like that guy, and he was cool, and there was a dog there with him. So I guess they get a point for that, but every other time, dishonorable mention for sure.
All right, what about your honorables?
Yarny. I meant to look up the year that this happened. This is one that we watched together though, from the game Unraveled during the Xbox conference, and the creator of the game. This was I think this was a smaller studio that Microsoft ended up purchasing to be a first party developer, but he came out on stage and told a story about like how when he was young he had this yarn doll, and he always thought about like the craziest adventures when he was on road trips with his family. And I remember when he pulled them out of his jacket pocket and his hands were shaking. I don't know. I think it's really cool when creators like this who throw so much passion into their projects get a spotlight like that. It it's one of the cooler moments that I've seen in any conference, honestly.
Hey, you're right. It was authentic. It was real. It was beautiful. I could not agree more because we all felt for that guy. And even though me personally, I didn't love Unravel the game as much, I bought it because of that dude. I was like, I want to support this guy, so I bought Unravel like right away. And I was just like, all right, guy. And like, it's fun. It's cool. Like, it nothing, not mind blowing, but I did like it. It was fun game. Any other honorable mentions, my friend?
Two more. So, The Rock and Bill Gates introducing the original Xbox.
Okay, that's so. Next one. Or go tell me.
Just oh man, their two personalities do not play well off of each other on stage.
No, not at all.
And I love it.
You like the pain. I like it. Okay.
And then the last one. So I actually don't even know if this is from a conference or where it was. I found this while I was researching for another moment that made it onto my list. But there's a commercial for the Sega Saturn that's just a freaking jacked dude in a Speedo, like flexing while holding the Sega Saturn, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's hilarious.
All right, I need to look that up. So, what's it called?
Dude, I don't remember. I'll try to find it again and I'll send you a link. But there's one part where he's like flexing his back muscles, and like the Sega Saturn isn't even in that shot, but they just like post like 8 cores, like trying to
amazing
saying it's a powerful system. Yeah, that's so those are all my honorable and dishonorable mentions. Elijah, what you got for me?
Okay, I'm gonna rock through because this is all gonna make sense to you. First up is staying up really late at night grinding for the TGS news about Kingdom Hearts, and it like trickling out and it being like a blurry version of like someone capturing it on their phone, and it's like the Japanese trailer, and the American one comes out maybe like a week later, or the English one comes out a week later. But that staying up to like 3 a.m. to be like, I gotta see this Kingdom Hearts trailer, this Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep trailer for TG. Like, what a waste of my life, and how disappointing for where it ended up, and how angry I am at Kingdom Hearts now as an adult. But as a kid and growing up, man, did I love it. That Disney bullshit, I was on it. So TGS, staying up late to get news out of TGS, I think is the thing I want to highlight as the honorable mention. The guy from A Way Out, when he was like telling everybody to F themselves at the Game Awards, that guy is incredible, and that game is awesome. So do you remember that moment?
Elijah, I was there, dude.
Oh yeah, that's right. We gotta. Okay, we'll talk about that later. I'm sure we'll get into that. Like with the rest of the list. Okay, I figured. Okay, Devolver Digital, any of their conferences, because they've gone over the top now, and they have the lady with the blood eyes and like the murder and whatever Devolver Digital's doing there. And you'll probably be surprised this did not make my list. It's an honorable mention because I felt like it was kind of tacked on to a direct and really wasn't. I guess, it's like one of those things where like the direct's like 20 minutes. So like, I don't feel like it's really a conference moment, but it's Banjo and Smash. Like I was at work crying and like trying to hide my tears from my coworkers as I was watching Banjo and Smash. And my heart jumped out of my body when they did the fake out with DK. And like, I was like all of it, man. Like every part of that Banjo reveal in Smash made my life.
I remember watching that live and I was like, oh man, Elijah is livid right now when the fake out happens.
I almost had a heart attack. It's the closest I've come. Like I really felt my heart pounding out of my chest when that happened. Like it's the most I've ever felt my body. And then also in the aftermath, watching the Nintendo World Store video of all the other fans being in there and everyone just like losing it like it's Coachella. And like I was just like, I feel valid. I feel seen. Like it was a really good moment for me.
For sure. I can get down on that, yeah.
All right, cool. Let's get into your number 4, buddy.
So number 4 for me is a little bit interesting. So it's not a game reveal or anything like that. It was back in 2004, Nintendo's E03 conference, when Reggie made his first appearance as president of Nintendo of America. And he walks out on stage and said, "My name is Reggie. I'm about kicking ass. I'm about taking names, and we're about making games." And I don't know. I think Reggie really ushered in, and granted, like, whatever, it takes a village, there's engineers and programmers and game makers and factory workers and everything. Like, so many different moving pieces to this wonderful machine that is like Nintendo. But I think Reggie really ushered in like the golden age of Nintendo. I don't know. He went through like the Wii's life cycle. He ushered in the Switch and just the quality of the games and the systems that have come out since then. I don't know. He just Reggie to me was like the face of Nintendo for a bit there.
No, and that makes perfect sense, man. Like people have newscasters that they like because they get the news from him, every week or every night or
Mm.
nightly. And you like Reggie because he was the one always delivering you the things that you wanted to see from Nintendo. So you're like, he's like Mario Galaxy 2, and you're like, yeah, Reggie, thanks, homie. I know you did it
Exactly.
yourself. You programmed the whole game. Like, yeah. And now he's sadly on the board of GameStop. So really, life comes at you fast.
It sure does. It sure does. Elijah, what you got for number 4 for you?
I think this will be a surprise to you because I'm not typically a huge Sony fan. Sony has all the best exclusives. There's no refuting it. But just growing up my life, I've had Nintendo consoles and Xbox consoles first before I got that generation Sony console, and I pretty much
Yeah.
always ended up getting it because I wanted to play the exclusives. But for me, I think this happens a lot during E3, and we'll probably talk about this more. But there's always that like who won the week, and it's like did Nintendo, did Microsoft, did Sony win the week, and all that stuff. And there's always
Right.
that in you want, because you have your biases and your fandoms, you want your team to win. But the year that Sony did the stage environments where like they were in that theater and then the foliage around them and everything changed for each game, and they did those like immersive trailer, it's like environment, like I don't know, like whatever it is, the theater kid inside of me was like, this is effing cool. So that's my number 4.
Right, because they showed Spider-Man that year, and they had like the scaffolding and stuff, and
I think they
then
had God of War, they did something
God of
with.
War. Didn't they do Days Gone as well? And they had like
I
a bunch
think
of like
Uncharted.
farms.
Yeah, I don't think Uncharted 4 had come out yet either, so I think they had like a jungle environment too. It was just mind blowing. Like it was really a good, like it was the coolest stage presence and production that anyone had done on for E3 or any of the conferences, I think.
There it is.
What's yo number 3?
So my number 3 explains why I found that like that Jack dude doing the Sega Saturn advertisement. Back in E3 of 1995, the console war was like Sega and Sony, right? And Sony comes out and they say one word. They say whatever. Maybe not one word. It's $299. They say $299. They drop the price of the PlayStation 1. It's $100 cheaper than the Sega Saturn. And then he walks off stage. And the crowd erupts. And it's incredible. It reinvented the mic drop. And, I just really thought that that's always a cool moment.
That's weird. I didn't think that we'd do one based around pricing. I thought that we might be more about trailers or different game reveals and things like that. But that's cool that you included a moment where it was like, and this is the price. And I guess, honestly, that's effectively them kicking Sega out of the games or the console market, right? Because Dreamcast was their last console, but that was like the first like shank, and they slowly bled out like afterwards. But that was the first knife that really kicked it all off.
More or less. And it's crazy. So for the most part, I really respect like Sony as a company. I think that delaying the reveal of the PlayStation 5 to not distract from the Black Lives Matter movement was an incredibly classy move. Respect the hell out of them for it. That was absolutely the right move. Also they make quality games, like you said, some of the best exclusives for sure. But when they get dirty, it's pretty funny. They did stuff for the year that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One was announced. They did some stuff. They were like, so Xbox had done their conference the day before, and they had some miscommunications like, you got to be online to play your game, and you can't use used games, right? That whole controversy thing. And then Sony shows up the next day, and they're like, yeah, you can buy used games, and you don't have to be online. And then they even went as far to making a viral. I don't know if this was ever like streamed or whatever, because E3 is never really televised, but they made a short YouTube video, and it was like how to share a game with a friend on PlayStation 4, and it's just Shuei passing the game to his friend, and he said thanks, and that was the video. So when Sony gets dirty, I don't know, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. We like when these companies are like Wendy's and they're burning people. I completely agree with you, dude. Like, yeah, it's fun. It's fun for us.
Definitely. What you got at number 3?
I'm glad that I actually didn't plan it this way, but it's the Halo 3 reveal. The trailer, they had the piano, the way that the screen kind of wrapped around the amphitheater. And it was one of those years where like they kind of had like these weird lights moving around the arena that they were in. So everything with that Halo 3 reveal is just what E3 is to me. It was worth taking work off to be there for it, and it was great being in a room full of friends and everyone being just like amped and hyped, because I think it's one of those things where like you knew it was coming because the game was coming out later that year, but the trailer, there's very few times where like you have like, you know, like I think me and you have personally talked about this, but like the stakes that Endgame had or Infinity War and like all these things, like when they not only do they live up to the expectations, but they like surpass them. That's always those great moments because everyone's so critical of things these days. It's just awesome to have this thing that just like lives up to the hype, and that's what the Halo 3 trailer reveal was for me.
I don't remember specifically the reveal trailer for Halo 3, but I will say I think Halo 3 had some of the best video game marketing of all time ever.
The veteran of the battle, he's like in the Master Chief. It was like the what Gandalf when he's like, and on the fifth day, turn to the you'll see me at dawn kind of stuff.
Hold on, is this because this may be the reveal trailer, but the one where they're like it's two kids laying in the grass and they're looking up at the night sky.
I believe so. Yep. I'm pretty sure that's it. And it's Chief and Eve. Yeah,
What?
man. Yeah, it's the piano, the way that like the theater peels away. Yeah, it's the best. It's so good.
Especially because for that one, at that point, I don't think that you knew it was. I mean, like, yeah, whatever. There was probably people who knew it was Halo, but like before it did, like the keys on the piano, the dun, dun, dun,
yeah, that's the one.
Dun, dun, so yeah, it's just and you just it's. I get chills down my spine just thinking about it.
Ah, so good. Okay, what's your number 2, buddy?
Number 2 for me. I'm glad you brought up being in a room of people like real hype and stuff. So in 2017, I was very fortunate. I got to take a trip. I went to Los Angeles for the Game Awards and then Anaheim for the PlayStation experience. My number 2 moment is from the Game Awards that year when it was before they announced Game of the Year. Breath of the Wild ended up winning. I loved because that's one of my favorite games of all time. I love that game. But Shigeru Miyamoto comes out on stage and there's like the pedestal of the Master Sword in the Lost Woods, and there's a full orchestra there playing the title music, and he pulls the sword out and raises it up as like his introduction, and tears were streaming down my face. Incredible. I was like, this is amazing. What is life right now?
I'm breathing the same air that Shigeru is breathing.
Yeah, 100%. Like one of the highlights of that trip for sure. Probably the highlight of that trip, to be honest. But also just a really cool gaming conference moment.
I couldn't agree more, buddy. You said it all. It's up there, and it's so crazy to think that just like, oh man, not only did Shigeru make all of Mario, he's also responsible for like it's like if someone just like, hey, I'm the best basketball player. Oh, by the way, like I'm really good at football, and I can like it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like I can't believe it. Whatever. He's great. He's the best. He really is
the best for sure. What's your number 2, Elijah?
Okay, so you might have been in the room for this one then, because it was from the Game Awards. It's when they revealed Psychonauts 2, and I factually kept screaming and took my shirt off and ran around the room screaming in hype. So it's the most hype I think I've been for something. Because the banjo thing, I was at work, so I had to be tempered. But like I was just watching the Game Awards with like my roommates, and then it was just like I just started screaming and running around the room, taking my shirt off. So yep,
I remember that vividly. I was there.
Okay. Good.
I can factually say I don't think I've ever seen you that hype before.
Because it's just like that thing where like my body was on fire and the only thing to do is to release it with scream.
Yeah. That's fair. Psychonauts is one of your favorite games of all time, yeah?
Oh, yes. I know, of course, we will probably dive into that at some point of this pod. But for now, you just need to know that I love Psychonauts 2. It's weird. I put Halo 3 as my number 3. I put Psychonauts 2 as my number 2. I didn't intend on doing that, but I definitely did. All right, buddy. What is your numero uno?
So this one feels like cheating a little bit because it's very broad, but
okay.
The entire PlayStation experience, 2017,
okay,
was just an absolute blast, man. You know, I wanted to go to E3 this year. Obviously, that didn't happen because, you know, like whatever, the world's on fire. But being there, like being where the action's at, and being surrounded by people who are just as passionate about this medium as you are, was one of the coolest things I have ever experienced in my life. There was on the preview night, because we bought tickets like the day that they dropped Deus Ex, or not Deus Ex, Detroit Become Human. That was before the game released at that point. Um, and the developer who was playing through it was like, I'm going to let you guys make the choices. You just got to scream it out. I remember there was a fish on the floor, and I have never heard a room of people scream so loud in my life before, but we were yelling, pick up that fish. That was a great moment. I almost won a Game Beasts tournament at PlayStation Experience. Still mad about it to this day. I did get like a championship belt though. That was pretty cool. They had a whole thing for like Days of Gone where they had actors and like really good makeup. And be zombies. You couldn't play the game unfortunately, but they had like this whole like lore walkthrough area for God of War. I got a dope ass picture jumping in front of a helicopter with the bad guy from Spider-Man, Mr. Negative. It was just awesome, man. If I had to pick one moment that like one moment from that conference, because that's what this list is, video game conference moments. It's the moment where I realized that the room that I was in, where I was just playing Fireball Zero Hour, which is it's like Rainbow Six, but like for PlayStation VR, with the developers and kicking their asses, quite frankly. But when I saw Sean Layden, he was like senior vice president or something of Sony Interactive Entertainment. I saw him in that room talking to somebody, and I was like, wait a second, this is the press room. I'm not supposed to be here right now, because I just kind of waltzed in and nobody said anything. But that moment, I was like, all right, well, let me just mosey on out.
I would have stayed and got all the scoops, but hey, you know, that's just me.
It's fair. Yeah, but it was awesome. I wish that they were still doing that convention. If they were, I would be going every single year. But I definitely recommend like whatever thing you can make it to, where it's you can be there in person. Go, because it's worth it. Just the atmosphere, the energy. It's incredible, and I could not recommend it more.
So this is interesting because my number one's not actually going to be something that's in the room, but it's going to be something that's kind of similar to that, because one of the things that I loved about Game of Thrones or with Lost is that there was so much conversation around it. It's like everyone was in the same boat, going in the same direction with the theories, with the gamifying it, with the, you know, just like being this like really weird thing that took over culture. And that's exactly what I feel like happened with the Wii reveal, because like it was like the revolution. There was all this secrecy, there was all this speculation, there was all these like there's like this, I don't know, this buildup, this avalanche almost of things that were kind of, I don't know, speculating what it could be. I can't tell you how many different mock-ups of Revolution controllers I looked at, like, you know, online. Yeah, and it's this thing where like just like I had mentioned earlier, it's like something living up to the hype. And like that first Wii year, like that was so cool. Like even though like the nunchuck and the Wiimote ended up making me more lazy than ever, because I could like break them apart and like put a nunchuck behind my head and just kind of wiggle the Wiimote to do sword actions. Like that first time where you're like, oh, you're gonna jump over the couch and shoot it like in Metroid, you're gonna swing your sword and Zelda. Like that was a super cool year. Like everything with the Wii, because it's so weird because everyone had like concepted so many different things. And then like the first time I saw someone just like turn it on its side and it was like, oh, it's a Nest controller. And it was like, here's the eShop. And I was just like, oh, what? Like it's, I don't know. It was really cool, that whole rollout. And it's like cemented another 10 years of my Nintendo fandom really at that moment.
Yeah, man, that's the Wii was something special. Like I don't think I realized that when I had it, because I was like, no, Mom, I'm on an Xbox. But because the ports for the Wii sucked. Like specifically, I remember being very disappointed by the Spider-Man 3 port. But I sure didn't appreciate that console enough when it was first out. But the Wii was something special. I remember waiting outside in front of a Best Buy for like the midnight launch, or it
Oh,
wasn't really a
dude.
midnight launch because at that point, like, you didn't really pre-order stuff. I remember because they handed out tickets to people in line that reserved it like the morning of, but like it was freezing cold. But like my dad was all about it. He's like, yeah, we're gonna be like first in line. We were like fourth or fifth, but it was just a really cool experience, and everyone out there being so hype. You know, that I made friends with the kid that was with his family that was sitting in front of me. The Wii really was something special, is what I'm trying to get at here. I'm going down my own like tandem thing here, but yeah, man.
I was a true scallywag, Brandon, when that came out, because not only did I work at GameStop then, but like, because there's all this like, hey, there's no Wii's, there's no Wiimotes, there's no nunchucks. I had 4 Wiimotes, 4 nunchucks, copy of every game. Like, I was the worst. I was a straight up terrible person.
Oh man, dude.
True GameStop scallywag. I mean, I paid for them, obviously, but like, I was not a man of the people back when I was like 16, 17. I was a man of getting the Wiimotes for me and my friends to play Rabbids.
Learned a lot about you today, Elijah.
Well, you know what, dude? I'm going to throw on, just like you did at the beginning, I'm going to throw on a dishonorable mention here at the end, because the Wii cemented my Nintendo fandom. And then the conference, when they did the Wii Music demo, that ended my Nintendo fandom and made me pivot to Xbox more. Because, like, the Wii Music thing on stage with, like, using the, what was it, the freaking Wii Fit pad as a drum. Like, I was like, this is too much. Get out of here. We're over. It's done, guys.
Yeah, that was oh, man.
The worst conference moment.
Yeah, that's
Anything else for the people on conference moments, Brando?
go to a conference if you can. When the world's not on fire anymore. If conferences still exist, if the world still exists, you know, we'll see.
All right. So in closing, I will say that we are, of course, on the Project Nerd Network. Check it out. This is presented by Game Pitch Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. You can find Brandon on Twitter at Mr. Snow97. I'm at Mario RPGino, and we'll be on Apple, Google, Spotify in the Project Nerd Gaming playlist, y'all. So thank you so much for listening. You have a great day.
Bye, everybody.